Well, welcome to Nashville, Tennessee.
Home of American football. No, I'm just kidding. Oh, go Titans. Tighten up. That's not what they say.
Yeah. Home of the bachelorette parties.
Oh, Nash Vegas.
$5 cold brew.
You drink too much coffee.
Bro. I tell the people at work, I'm like, hey, you're about to pay $5 for this. You realize that, right?
Well, one alcoholic beverage starts at $8. Like beers are like literally $7 to $8.
Okay. Well, that's a good deal then.
Water is like $4 here. This is the most expensive city.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty crazy. Anyways, I'm sitting here with Bo Miller, class of 2023, track star, javelin, Belmont University. Pretty interesting guy from what I've known in the best way. Like when you're drawn to someone, you just want to know more and more and more. And then you start talking about one subject and the next thing you know, he's very versed in it. And then he's talking about music. And then next thing you know, he's talking about art and then education. And it just pretty much hits everything. Obviously, you're talking about track, like he plays sports and is in tune with that. And then next thing you know, you're driving around with him and he's talking about 20 different types of cars you never heard of. I don't know. Where'd you get the passion for literally all good things? Like you have good fashion, you have good car taste. You literally look at everything with a different perspective. Like me, I'm so in my head. I literally walk by 5 cars and don't even notice that they're there. And you're like, oh, that's a McLaren. Oh, that's that. I'm like, I don't even know what a McLaren looked like.
Hey, well, I really appreciate that. That means a lot coming from you, especially. Yeah, no, I don't know. Definitely probably my parents. That's the thing. I may have expensive tastes, but I don't really have expensive pockets yet.
No, I don't either. But that's the cool part about having goals. You see what you want and then you work towards them. Even if you don't get it, you get closer to that goal. And
yeah.
I mean, there's really no lose unless you don't do something. So.
Yeah. No. Well, I gotta introduce their fantastic fella across the way from me here, Mr. Cisco Carter. Yeah, man. An aesthete that's like having strong desire and affection to cool stuff, kind of like he was explaining earlier. Beautiful stuff, good sounds, good music, good rhythms. The creator of, the curator of, just about when you hear a good bass line, when you hear people cheering downtown Broadway, there's really only a couple people that could be coming from, unless there's somebody big in town. And if you had to bet, you got pretty good odds that it's probably Mr. Cisco behind the ones and twos. And
do all right.
For that, I'm thankful to know this dude. Shout out Andrew Powell for getting me connected with Cisco a little while back.
Hey, pal.
Ran into Cisco at the Mighty Fine Greenery.
Oh my God, that
was
place
that, a
is
Sunday?
So good. Yeah,
Sunday afternoon.
Y'all were thriving and we were dying. We were like, man, we just watched church in bed and because we couldn't get up to go. Yeah, that was rough. I've probably been hungover like 3 times in the last year and a half, and that was one of them.
Yeah.
But you helped. Y'all let us get cut line and get water. It was.
No, it was fun. I was like, hey, are you Cisco? He's like, yeah. And then we kind of like, it's like we kind of recognize each other even though we hadn't met before.
Started coming together.
But yeah, there's about a million things we could talk about today.
That's the good part about life. There's so many things. I mean, both of us are in such good flows that when one door opens, we're already into the next 2, I guess, farther than from it closing by that time. So we're always on that move, but there's a lot to talk about. We can pick a topic and jump in it. Luckily, we're in one of the most beautiful places in the world right now, and it's thriving economy. There's so much going on. There's stuff I haven't even been able to release, but It's it's growing quick.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's absurd. We should jump into that a little bit, just like how you've seen Nashville change, even in just the past couple years. When did you first get to Nashville?
Full time 2015, so it's been 7 years.
Wow.
Like for real, 7 years. Honestly, probably this month.
Wow.
And even before, I was going to school in Middle Tennessee, which is 45 minutes outside of it. Everyone says it's 30 minutes. It's like straight up 44 minutes away. But we would come every weekend. We would look for something to do. We can go to Nashville just to eat dinner. Like anything I could do to get away from my college friends or have an experience away from college, sign me up.
Yeah.
I was here, but I did. It's crazy now. Like my friends live at parking lots. Like I used to park and walk out across the street to Tin Roof, and now it's two different buildings where people just live there. Or like the places we went, I used to throw like some college parties, and those places are now restaurants, or they're gone, or their houses, they're broken down, put back up. It's crazy what everything I used to do is so far away. Like people don't even have that option. Only place that's really stood the test of time is Tin Roof. Like it's wild. And then going to Broadway, I mean, we did it for a second, then we had a flood, and so no one really went down to Broadway. On like Second was Broadway. Like everyone was on Second, and then it moved to Broadway, and then it got Tootsie's and all those places started getting busier because it pushed up, which is crazy because that's been around for, I mean, before I was probably even born. But yeah, Nashville's changed a lot. And I don't just talk about like the bar scene and stuff, because obviously being in my 20s, that was where I spent a lot of my time, is just where my friends wanted to go. And that's where girls were. And usually girls and alcohol and equaled a good time for them.
Oh, yeah.
But I'd say like my faith life and the church that I go to is also, not to like completely do a 180 contrast, but it hasn't changed as much. And I think that's like one of the best things, is that relationship with not only like your community, but like your God is so consistent. That's been incredible to have a stronghold this long in a city. And so I would say my faith is literally, I mean, I'm always going to grow closer, but also my friends, I feel like it's just an easy way where I can just continue to preach a good gospel in a normal way, like a realistic way, not so structured, but just loving the right way. So as the city grows and I meet more people, I get to love on them, I get to pour into them. And I love that our city is growing. I don't also love our gas prices. I don't love how much it is to live downtown, but I mean, it's the price you pay. And if you look around, like everyone's always working towards something. They're always like, this is one of the biggest, like in my opinion, entrepreneurship city we have, because I'm talking to all these people, and like, man, in high school I wanted to do this and now I do that, and I'm like, oh, that's wild. How'd you get into it? So I didn't have the opportunity, so I just made it, and I was like, oh, that's kind of like me. Like I felt like everyone kept saying I was overqualified, or if they could find someone just like me, and I was like, oh, y'all got it wrong. Like I am qualified directly. Like this is a good opportunity, but also, like, why are you looking for someone just like me when you could have me? So I was just like, all right, y'all kept putting this energy towards me. Well, I'm going to put it in me. And here I am continuing to grow as the city grows. It's been cool. It's been a nice little journey.
Yeah. I mean, from the stuff that I've seen you a part of, or know that you're a part of, but behind the scenes, or plastered all over the cover of, I can't tell you how many times I saw the Derby ad, and you're in that ad, and every time I would just be scrolling through, and I was like, wait a second, that was Cisco.
You know, it's wild because like our company runs a lot of operations in the city, and I'm the face of our company, but I do not choose to be face of a lot of our partnerships. And when did this, like, I don't even know. And I see it on Instagram, or I see it on like Facebook, or I see it on ads or Google. And I'm just like, I remember taking this picture. I had no idea I'd be in an ad. And it's almost like people sell the ad with my face in it. It's like maybe it'll get everyone thinking I'm going. It really is fun because I get to go to a lot of places because they use my picture. But at the same time, when I'm out of town, and everyone's like, "Oh, I thought you were DJing," or "I thought you were going to be there." "Oh, thought you put this on," and so I do so much that like sometimes it can be like let people down at times. Unless the closer you are to me, that I'm pretty honest with what I'm actually going to do at places.
Yeah.
Like I want to make sure, like if it uses my picture, that it's not going to take away from my present and where I'm at that moment. Because there will be times where a nightclub will use my picture on a day that like I haven't DJ'd there in like 5 months. And I get on Instagram and someone sends us like, "Oh, you here tonight?" I'm like, false advertisement.
That's crazy.
It is, but it's cool. Like it's cool that the city trusts me enough to even be a face. I look at a lot of the people that I look up to, and I won't be able to be the face for a long time. I honestly don't want to. At the same time, like I'm trying to expand. The city has brought a lot of joy to me, but at the same time, I feel like I can bring a piece of this city to other places. So,
yeah.
Where do you see the future of the Nashville scene going from your standpoint? I know coming of your age and what you see around your school and being here, and you got the benefit of being in Franklin, and then also in Brentwood, and then also in Nashville. So you see the trends kind of trickle from Nashville down to the other cities.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think Nashville as a city. Well, I guess to kind of explain it a little bit, my family's in Cody, Wyoming right now for a little vacation, and they're just going all across like the Midwest and up in the mountains and stuff. And they were at this little ice cream shop, and they overheard some guys talking about Nashville, and they said Nashville is the only city right now that isn't slowing down. Economically, culturally, infrastructurally. Like you look at this skyline, and I can't see a crane at the moment.
Oh, you definitely can.
There's two right there, actually.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. You just looked the wrong way because you got a hotel right there.
Yeah, there's 3. Yeah. There's 6. Yeah, and we can see
went from 1 to 6 real quick.
And we can see maybe 10 degrees of our view right now.
No, I'm seeing 2 more.
Yeah.
We're at 8.
No, it's crazy.
It's wild.
And I think that's really exciting. And as far as like the music, for instance, obviously country music I think will always be there. Just because I feel like a lot of the kids that are from this area and came here grew up on it in one way or another, just because it was such a prominent genre, when our parents grew up and, when they raised us and things. And so I think country music's at the core, which I think it is with all of us as individuals as well, which is probably why it continues to stay and fits and will probably, just be timeless, just like a lot of other genres. And I think, too, with, your newer sounds, like obviously our dance music, hip-hop, basically the number 1 genre in the world, I get really excited when I hear Bad Bunny playing as we're running around. And whenever I'm going through 12 South or whatever, that's one of my favorite artists that I turn on, windows down, about as loud as I can possibly go. Because I think the more stuff that we can kind of like flood into here, because it's good things, it's music. It's not like it's something negative that could turn Nashville in a bad direction. I think it's better because it's more music, it's more listeners, it's more of an audience, it's more of it's just more culture. And as far as like your big business side looks, like that's just more eyes and ears that they're trying to get their content and artists in front of. Like you were talking earlier, like, the business is just so vast and so huge, and as much as easy as it is to throw a song on SoundCloud, it also could take 8 weeks to hear back from your distributor about getting, a 3-minute song up on streaming platforms. And, that's kind of something I wanted to talk about as well, is like the commercialization of like our industries. And maybe before we get in that, we could talk about our industries and what it is that we do and our goals. Just like our top 5, because we're in about 15 or 20. But
Yeah, no kidding.
I guess like our top like 3-4 hobbies, professions, things that we spend nearly every waking hour thinking about.
Yeah, I would say if I was to look at, obviously my goals have stuff to do with what I do from when I wake up to when I go to sleep. Obviously, you have different categories of your goals too. I mean, I have my faith goal, which that's like ultimately on top, but everything else is like goes through it. I want to make sure like what am I praying about? And those are usually my goals. And so I look at like on stage DJing, where I'm at right now versus where I'm going to go. I look at the crowd, like it's cool to have certain experiences, like Father's Day. I saw you at the soccer game.
Oh yeah.
Getting a DJ, the warm up, pregame, started the game.
The Nashville SC game.
Yeah, Nashville SC.
The new stadium.
29,000 plus people, and DJing. And to me, it's like it's crazy to think that many people, and getting texts or just like, man, I don't have a ton of streams, but getting texts that, oh, your song's on. And no one, like my friends, it was cool that they knew it was my song, but they didn't even know that I was DJing. They just heard my song. So I thought that was pretty special, getting texts. And then my friends also seeing me on the Jumbotron, recording it and sending me videos. So, I mean, little things like that, but also there's nothing like sitting in a room working on a song and then getting to hear it out and seeing people just vibe with the energy. They don't know all the words, of course.
Yeah.
But there are times where they do, so they're just like, yeah, like it's different. So that's been very special to me this past year. Quarantine and music was like a little project of mine. I actually was like help managing someone, moved in, started playing December 18th, 2020. I think it was the first show I played. And then like 2 weeks later, he was like, yo, you're going to be bigger than I am. Like, and I was like, for real? He's like, no, but you're just going to be too busy for me. And I was like, damn, like, you're not kidding. No, and he's still a bigger artist. He's still a better producer. He's still a better human. He's just a man. Like, I got to give flowers where flowers are due. But it just pushes me to be even better. He's like a co-signer. He'll make sure, like, if something I should change, he'll recommend it or do it for me. So
Yeah.
It's been nice. But, yeah, a lot of it. And then that's just the music aspect. That's probably – honestly like 10% of my whole life. Like I feel like business is a lot of it, and that I love what I do. So I build community basically through marketing and events. Our sales are usually to companies to use their budget instead of use people's budget, so we can offer a better experience at a lower rate is how our company does. It's FOMO Entertainment. We put on shows with Wiz Khalifa to Mitchell Tenpenny from hip-hop, country, electronic, yoga events. We have a really good partnership with a lot of companies. Nightscape has over 17 plus projectors all around 360 view. It's a really cool immersive experience. To Moet Hennessy, one of the leading top shelf liquor companies you possibly can have in honestly this entire world. Like it's crazy to see the scale that we've been able to work with a small team. I mean, we just expanded from 2 to 3 people, and we have a lot of contractors, over like 400 contractors, which are our artists or our little like here and there, work the tickets, work the doors. Everyone just coming together to help us. And
Yeah.
we're very fortunate that we opened a 4-story venue with the company. We've done countless things that are all just based around music, art, creativity, community, and truly just experience. And so those have really been
And
my
memories
goals.
too.
Yeah, memories. Oh my gosh, yeah. We like in college, we used to always be like memories over money, and it was almost like whatever it takes for you to be with me to have this memory, we're gonna do it. I don't care what the price is. Like I'll call my mom and borrow money. Like I'll go to the bank and borrow money. Money will come.
Yeah.
Those memories aren't always there. We lose people. You know, we get older where we can't do it. Like anything can happen with handicaps, but like these experiences, memories, and it doesn't even have to be like something physical, but just like knowing my best friend or like someone who's going to be my wedding is next to me, it just already makes your day.
Yeah. And I think another thing to touch on that too, it's not like it's this huge process, you know, where you got to speak to so and so and their assistant, and then get transferred to so and so, get their info. Like with Cisco's, it was. I mean, fortunately enough, it was easy to get his phone number, texted him. We met at Frothy Monkey. Like, but as far as the way he does business too, I think is a great representation of Nashville and kind of how Nashville works, where it can be as big time like New York attorney as it needs to be, or it can also be as simple as like coffee shops and a few techs here, and you've got a partnership set up, or you've got somebody who's willing to give you their studio or their equipment or their time. And I think that's another thing too that's so beautiful about it. And I've been fortunate enough to become good friends with, and she's been a mentor to me since my freshman year. Met her on Halloween actually. Is Charlene Bryant, and I want to give a huge shout out to her, because without Charlene, probably would have given up on one or two dreams. Definitely would have not have had so much courage, you know, to kind of tell my dreams to the world and to friends. And oftentimes it's met with, you know, like one of my dreams, for example, I'll just tell this quick story. First time I met Charlene, she said, you know, what is your dream? Like, what's one of your biggest dreams? And kind of told her about some. And then I said, to finish it off, I go, and I know this sounds crazy, but you know, I want to make $1 billion. And you'll hear that sound bit in a song that's going to be coming out soon, actually. We haven't asked Charlene for her approval yet, because she is featured in that song. But
I approve.
yeah, okay.
Ask for forgiveness.
Yeah. But you know, it's just that idea of like nothing is too crazy. And I know, you know, I could go into my hometown, Lawrence, Kansas, and tell people about somebody like Cisco, or somebody like Charlene, or somebody like my buddy Jeffrey. And these are people that are out there, you know, in the city, doing really, really, really cool things at a really, really, really fast rate. And it's pretty amazing. You know, I've never seen so many people or one person be able to take and manage so many phone calls within 10 minutes as this dude.
Oh my gosh. It's like a running joke. They're like, if we have a meeting with Cisco, you're going to have to be on the phone call and wait for him to get off the phone call and then get back to it.
Yeah.
Well, I do actually, like, I haven't even noticed that, but yeah, our chain of command's a little different. Like, you go straight to the top, and then we trickle people down to who they need. So my assistant, she's incredible. She's been doing really good, but I just like to know. Like, I want to know your company and what you have to offer, or you and what you want. And I mean, it literally could be nothing. Like, it could just be good to know you and how can we help or assist. And a lot of time, like, I'll just lend my assistant out and be like, what's your problem? Let's fix it. Because she might have the time, I might have the time. A lot of times we don't, but at the same time, if there's an error and you're trying over and over again, like, there's no reason for that insanity. If I can keep someone sane and bring them peace the same way all these partners have done for me. And like, one of my biggest worry is, what if I went back into COVID? So I was like running at 1,000,000 miles per hour, where most people can do their jobs at a 60-mile safe miles per hour, and mine is not. Like, my lack of sleep is truly there. I wake up with slight anxiety. I don't even know I have anxiety. I'm like very fortunate. I'm very blessed. A lot of it just, I could be at peace in every relationship and happy and not have anything, and wake up at 4:30 in the morning and be like, oh, I got to do something. I'm like, don't look at your phone because then you're going to find something. You're going to find something to do. But I think just like conditioning myself to be like, okay, I can't go back to where I was because I thought I was safe. I thought I was all right. COVID honestly was the best year of my life because I got to learn what it's like to slow down. I also got to remember what it's like to sacrifice and then also remember what it's like to be poor. Like I was already like poor paycheck to paycheck, but not poor. Like this was the first time I've been in debt, and I've never been in debt in my life. I like graduated college, no debt. In debt and having money is completely like that's credit. That's awesome. That's how you want it. That's safe because you can take money and be in debt and honestly make more money and come out. It's like a slingshot, you
Yeah.
pull it back,
Loans,
grab that tension and let it shoot you farther than ever
investments.
before. Yeah.
Yeah.
But when you're broke and in debt, you're screwed. You don't have a way to do anything except borrow more money and then your credit goes down if you're not borrowing and putting in. So there's ways to learn, but I just kind of had people pour into me and make sure like I wasn't doing the same thing that gets others in trouble. I didn't need to learn from my mistake. I didn't do anything wrong. I just didn't get like government assistance, or I didn't really ask, or I just set up a new business and went out on my own. And,
Yeah.
it was
Hustle.
one of those fly or sink. And I mean, I don't even know the term, but we're flying now. Like
Yeah.
whatever it takes, like
Yeah.
we do it. But
Sink or swim.
yeah, sink or swim. And I mean, it's definitely different. The city's different. And that's the cool part of what I was saying earlier is like the entrepreneurs, the people who are driving the factors, and like being arm's length away from. You said like you want to be a billionaire. Well, like I'm literally just lost a mentor, and I was thinking about all the like I got so many cool stories of what he's done, and he was like, all I did is ever know how to work, and then I was like, well, whatever I worked for, I wanted to give, and we were thinking about just little 10-second increments with this man. He always smiled. He always checked how you were. I met him at Jeff Ruby's Steakhouse. I was serving, and like he was like, "Man, we got to get you somewhere better than this." He's like, "I love this place, but I just see it in you." And I was like, at that time, I did not see much in me. I was like, all right. I was like, yeah, I'm going to work here for like 3 months, 2 months. I'm just going to quit. I'm not even going to tell them. A year and 6 months later, I think is what it took me to actually quit. And it took him and a couple managers to be like, you are really wasting your time here. Not saying the money wasn't good. It was just I was taking away from
Yeah.
the opportunities. Everyone who came in Jeff Ruby's, I mean, the average plate's $120. And they're like,
Wow.
why do all these artists know who you are? And I was like, oh, I run an event company. I've been working towards this. And they're like, utilize it. Find a way to monopolize it. And that's what we did.
Yeah.
And then we went into COVID. And I was like, all right, well, if I come out of this, I'm going to learn everything I possibly can to make sure I do it right. I'll go to meetings with agents and be like, what's the first thing you look for to make sure people are reliable? Then I'd go to meetings with managers, like, what do you want when someone's booking your artist? So they're like, I want everything answered in the first email. And then it's like event planners, like, what do you want? What do you want during your event? And it's like, all right, let's go down. It's like, what's the name? What's the artist? What's the budget? What's the idea? What's the door time? What's the set times? And this I use for everything. Every event, literally planning someone's birthday. Event name. I just go through. Like I actually probably have it right here. It's so crazy that like my whole life as an event planner is done off of like 12 little things that I have to fill out. And I mean, it's hilarious. Yeah, event name, artist, event location, event date, event time, event ticket price, event capit, event budget, event ages, announcement date, marketing contact, and notes. And I plan everything
Yeah.
the same way. And it's the easiest thing. Like, I'll give this to someone. It doesn't mean it's going to work for them because they're not going to fill out everything with the most detailed information. I mean, I look at one of these, and next thing you know, it starts out. Like, I mean, we're on video. Look, it starts out the top.
Yeah. Yeah.
By the end of it,
Yeah, that's it.
I mean, your name's even on here. This isn't just for Cam's.
Yeah.
But I have so many of these. Like, this is just for Clayton's birthday.
Uh-huh.
Then I go to Josh's. Then I go, like, this is like his engagement. I literally planned his engagement by doing it. It's wild, but I mean, it works for everything. The horse races.
Yeah.
Same way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just gave you the trick of the trade.
Uh-huh.
No, it makes things simple when you have a template and you can just plug and play and just keep going and keep going and keep going. What really hurts you is when you don't do that, or you do that and don't fulfill your goals. That our goal is not to like generate revenue out the wazoo. Our goal is to take your goal or my goal
Or vision.
or vision
Idea.
and figure it out and make sure it happens. And so you said you thought it was crazy to be a millionaire or billionaire. Sorry, excuse me. Big difference.
A little bit.
Well, also, our first time having coffee, you told me that one of the professors at Belmont thought it was crazy that you thought you could pull off a fashion show.
Yeah.
And you're like, that's impossible.
Yeah. A lot of people.
I have pretty much 90% of it in place from you and I.
Yeah.
Our 10% will probably happen within 2 months.
Yeah.
And we'll have a fashion show.
Yeah.
And it'll be grand. And I'll have
it'll be
200 to 300 people. I'll have a couple artists. I'll have streetwear. And it'll be fun. It'll be probably at Nightscape, which will be incredible because 360 projection. They can walk in one side, out through the crowd. Like, we have the vision.
Yeah.
And we planned all of it pretty much. And the rest is just getting people in the outfits and making sure it's tailored to fit in each brand.
Yeah.
And we have 8 we're shooting for every 15 minutes, 2-hour event.
Yeah.
Like, golden, man.
Yeah.
And people think it's incredibly hard, but it's because they haven't done it. They're scared.
Yeah.
Like, we're sitting in year 2022 and so many things no one's ever done, but we'll do, like this year. And then last year, there's so many things people have never done. Records are getting broken. Science is changing. Honestly, God's blessing so many people. Medicine, people are living fruitful lives in different ways. We're able to, there's no way that people are going to live downtown in apartment buildings, and now everything's walking distance from where we're at right here. Like, it's just wild that people say something's impossible. And I think it's just their fear, or they don't want to take the time to see if it's possible.
Yeah. I think one thing that I've kind of caught myself doing recently, and I think it's important to kind of do this, is you can honestly make up like an idea or a vision or a plan, or you see something, like for instance this fashion show, and the plan is to have it through the school next year. And I was told by a very wise man that maybe that wouldn't be the best idea, just because, obviously to be able to do it yourself is going to require a lot, but to be able to have that satisfaction and to be able to accomplish that goal, without, a crazy helping hand would be huge. But it wasn't even the execution or the credit or like just the overall idea of it. It was just like, I guess the initial stages and pitching this idea to many people. I think I first took the idea to one of the deans, and because I've been fortunate enough to get close with the Dean Doug Howard, and Associate Dean Cheryl Slay Carr, and it was great. I had lunch with both of them in the same day, actually, in the spring, and that's one thing that they told me, and it's something that I try to tell a lot of people. And I think the best thing that you can do with your friends is to be the crazy ones, be the ones that are the square pegs trying to fit into like the circle holes. And it at the end of the day, it just isn't really going to work. And that's okay, because you have your own identity, you have your own goals, you have your own vision. And I know there's so many kids out there who are that way as well. And I think it's okay to sound crazy. It's okay to be able to have a voice. And you look around, you look at the people who are making a lot of money on social media, and that's simply what they do. Is they have an opinion, they have an idea, they have a thought. And just like this dude across from me, it just comes down to the execution. And I know I'm not good at it, obviously. I'd probably have a lot cooler car sitting down there on the street if I was just 2 times better at execution. And that's something that I, plan to continue to improve on. But,
2 times is a big number.
Okay.
If you double your revenue.
Yeah. Well, it would be a cool car. Nah, maybe. But, yeah, I think at the end of the day, like, you have to surround yourself, like we've always known, with people who put into you and don't pull out. And it's okay too, obviously, there's errands you got to run, there's things you got to do for people here and there. And the biggest thing is to not expect anything in return with humans, but obviously with your business, that's, you have to, you got to get something in return. And, I think kind of at the end of the day, some of the stuff that I've really learned in this past year or so is, I think I've spent more and more time with the people who I know are going to be the most empowering, going to feed into me the most, with whether it may be faith, whether it may be music, ideas. And, it's kind of like how everybody says, they're hyping you up, whatever it is. But that's really what it takes, like, I don't know how many of y'all have seen, the Kanye West documentary, but he had a lot of people around him who saw him basically as a god. And with that kind of empowerment and that kind of confidence, as we've seen, anything is possible. And, like I said, this dude sitting across from me is a great example of that. You look at the city of Nashville, like we talked about with the cranes everywhere, and anything is possible. There's a lot going on in our world right now that would make a lot of sense for a lot of these places to start shutting down again, for people to be out of work, for crime to be rampant. And there's something special about Nashville where that really isn't the case. I do have Nashville scanner Twitter notifications on, and some evenings I really want to turn it off because I'm like, dang, I really wish I didn't see that headline come across my phone, because bad stuff happens. And, obviously we pray that stays at a minimum, and hopefully, just with the culture and the kind of people that we have in this city, it fosters a good place to raise families, to make good music, to make good food, to have good times. And, kind of going back to Cisco, that's something that he's the face of, or at least is pulling a lot of the strings in the background. The book.
Oh, yeah.
So if you were to write a book, when, honestly?
Yeah.
It's not if, it's when. What would you call it? And say you had 3 to 5 chapters or just a couple main points, what would you talk about?
Yeah, so I actually have thought about this since I was in 17. I read 48 books in 52 weeks, which is a year essentially. I was trying to get a book a week, get to 52 in 52.
Wow.
But obviously you start reading, you start thinking, you start like applying, you start being like, man, maybe I should take some of the knowledge that I've grown and make my spin on it. And so big self-help guy. But with that being said, yeah, mine's actually kind of a base of community, but it's called Monday through Thursday Friends. So obviously
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, talk about like the culture on the weekends here in Nashville, and how like drinking or partying or honestly like outdoor activities festivals. Everything's on the weekend. Like everything, even church is on the weekend. Like I'm not like putting one category. I'm just saying, like, what do people look for? They look towards the weekend all the time. It's like weekend warriors, no matter what it is. Like, oh, I'm running a marathon this weekend. Oh, I'm going to this festival. Oh, I'm going to a fishing trip. Oh, I'm going. Like, and that's our society. We work throughout the week. We look forward to the weekend. But like my friendships work so much better when they are talked to or thought of from Monday through Thursday. So it's like that's what I would want to focus on. Is that's what my book would be, is like how to develop these relationships and press forward Monday through Thursday. How do we stop depression? I mean, reach out throughout the week. Like the suicide rate, I don't know what it's like daily and if it's more apparent on another, but I do know like the relationships that I have and the things that I go through when I feel most alone are, it's not on the weekends. It's literally, sometimes it can be because that's just how it is in life, but a lot
Sunday
of times
morning,
it's,
sometimes.
a lot of times it's just legit throughout the week. And so it would be about that and just making sure like our friends, that's when you grow your friendship. Like I look at like all my best friends and I'm like, what did they do to become my best friend? Probably invite me to something that might have happened not on the weekends. And
something that may not have even sounded that exciting, but like you went and y'all made the most of it.
Yeah, I remember like one of my friends called me like 2 days after a festival and I talked to him for like an hour. I was like, that's so weird. Why is this guy calling me on Tuesday at like 4 p.m. and next thing you know it's like 5:30 and we talked and I'm like, did we just become best friends? Like, and it happens, and it happens a lot more than we think. But that's like moving to a new city and like doing stuff. Like I actually went and visited one of my best friends and he paid for my trip. It was actually really kind, but I went Monday through Thursday. Like I literally went Monday through Thursday because we're best friends. Like weekend comes around, more people are messing with us, like trying to get us to do this. Like it wasn't about what we did. It was about that conversation that we could have in person, or like the fact that we could see each other laugh or talk and just spend quality time together. I mean, we literally worked from like, it's actually the most productive week I've ever had because he works way longer than I do. And like when I work, but like I'm a lollygag, you know, I'll check Instagram. He's like on calls. I'm like, man, I got him want to be even busier than I am. So I'm on my computer and on calls, like actually. So we worked really hard. I got super ahead. We ate incredible food and just relaxed. It was revitalizing. And it's not the trip, it's the friendship.
Yeah.
And so, it's that's what the book I would make. And chapter by chapter, I mean, I would have to like really think, but I already know like it's Monday is going to be chapter 1, Tuesday, chapter 2. I mean, it's not going to be the longest book, but I hope, I mean, anytime you read a book, 3 to 5 takeaways is all you actually like retain from a book. So, I mean, you can have 30,000 chapters, but I mean, 3 to 5 things are really, you're going to remember a lot of the book. You're going to remember these stories, but like truly enough to like change your moral compositions, 3 to 5 things.
Yeah.
So am I going to have a long book? Probably not.
Yeah.
Is it going to be short? I hope not.
Yeah.
But I hope every single day that's written about holds weight. And ultimately that's what I want. 4 days, cool.
Yeah.
Run it up. But let's make these 4 days feel like my trip to see my best friend. Something simple, yet I left feeling revitalized and happy and joy. Like I literally like felt like I seeked and chose joy, and I had happiness throughout it. And I mean, I ultimately just want peace in everything I do, and I definitely left with peace on that trip. Little things kept happening too. I just felt like it was definitely a blessing to do. But yeah, it goes back to that book. Yeah. What would you, if you had one, what would your book be? What would it be called? What would be some chapters? Key takeaways? I want the back page if you're dedicating it to someone. Page. Yeah. Yeah.
Probably to my mama. No, I think I would probably call it "Don't read this book," and then under that say "Seriously, don't," and then under that say, "Well, if you want to," and basically just
Reverse
tell stories.
psychology already.
Well,
Don't look down.
hey,
Seriously,
on the
don't look
book.
down. All right, if you want to.
Well,
I've already thrown up from looking down. Like, I want to read it.
Yeah,
Tell me about
yeah.
it. Let's get in. Open the chapter.
So
Open the cover.
I started writing it on a plane actually. I don't know, a couple months ago, and I've read it to a couple people. It's only probably 2,000 words, and so far I got some good reviews on it. But basically, I think just like anything, you just got to talk about your life. You got to tell stories, and you got to be a good storyteller, and not just a good storyteller, but a storyteller. Because once you start telling stories, as my grandpa taught me, you got to start every story with "Once upon a time." And I think with that kind of mentality, you can be the best storyteller in the world. And there's obviously so many nuances and things. But as far as like how my book would go, I'd probably have a couple chapters focused on the things they don't teach you, the things that you got to do when nobody's looking, the things you do when people are looking. I wrote something down in my notes. I wish I had it. But to live loud, live fast, but also be really good at slamming on the brakes, really good at slowing down. And probably a chapter or two on happy medium and an unhappy medium, and why sometimes happy mediums can hold you back. Because as we know, if we'd be sitting here looking for happy mediums, we wouldn't be sitting here. Yeah. We'd probably still be in our hometowns. We'd probably still be doing A, B, and C. And getting uncomfortable is huge. I would definitely talk about that. Yeah. And I would just use stories, different times in my life. My life isn't all that interesting, but it seems like when I do tell stories, sometimes people, they may make somebody laugh. They may make somebody think hard about something. And that's probably what I would try to get to. So overall, just talk about the people that have inspired me and how to find those people, where to look, how to talk to them. And just emphasize on doing hard things. Because, if you don't do hard things, easy things become hard. Yeah. And then, you're homeless? Like.
Yeah, I think something you said is like reach out to people. Like that's something that a lot of people have trouble is reaching out. And especially like when you don't know someone, it's like,
Yeah.
And I'm talking like legit talking to someone in a line to buy their groceries or in Starbucks or asking them if they don't mind you using the phone charger that's in a plug right beside them. Like little things people are like, I don't know if I should do this.
But you have to.
Know. But the more you do it, the easier it gets. Yeah. And so like what I've seen in your relationship with a lot of different people is one, like you greet them. You're not afraid to talk to them, but also you're not afraid to follow up. Yeah. So like that's like how a relationship becomes. It's oh, I've seen him before. Oh, he's an acquaintance. Oh, he's a friend. Oh, it could be so much more. And then it does. And so, you get a little more recognizable and then you get a little more comfortable. But if you can recognize, all right, I'm not comfortable in this situation. And this is also, like, I know we're sitting here doing a podcast, but in 2000 and whatever, like maybe 16, Art of Charm, it was a podcast I would listen to. And
yeah, I know that one.
Yeah, and one time he was like making us do these challenges, and he was like, man, I swear if you do some of these challenges and sign up for our challenge, and I was like, okay, I'm not going to sign up. And then it was like the next week, it was like, these are some of the challenges we did. I was like, yes, he's giving us the challenges. And I wrote them down being so nerdy, I'd like pause it and write it down, and then keep going. It was like, next time you're at the airport, ask someone to like borrow their newspaper and see if you can read the next section. I was like, how old is this man?
Yeah.
Because I haven't seen a newspaper in like 5 years. But I did ask someone if I could read their extra book. So, I mean, that was awkward. And I was just like, I just want to pass time and not look at my phone. May I use your extra book? And then I didn't read a page. We talked the whole time.
Yeah, that's what happens normally.
Yeah. And then one was like, if you're in a line, if you can talk to someone and try to like get their information for some random thing. I was like, I don't intend on getting someone's information. Like, what's it going to benefit me? Walmart, talked to the lady, and then we started talking about what my shirt meant, FOMO, and then her son did this, and we should connect. I was like, this is so weird how this stuff keeps happening, but it was supposed to get me out of my routine and see, all right, now the fear is getting slowly taken out because the opportunities are slowly becoming greater.
Yeah.
Every time what's the worst that can happen? It's the same as like I used to tell my friends when you'd hit on a girl or a guy, like when you're going over there, I'd be like, what's the worst that can happen? You end up right here back with me, like chilling.
Yeah.
Now you have no doubts like they didn't like you or they did like you, or it's
cool.
like all right, cool, I said my piece, I can move forward. So I just encourage people to do that. But that's like us while we're sitting here, you know. Start with like a hey, and then a couple comments, and then a couple texts, and then a couple coffees, and then
it's
a
simple.
couple crystals.
The fast food joint.
Yeah.
The fantastic establishment. Crystal.
I can see it from here probably.
Yeah, I'm looking.
Jeez.
But
yeah, I see the sign. Might have to go.
Oh, the fashion one? Or what would you tell your younger self?
Oh man, how young are we?
10. Oh, no. 14.
14. What was I? 14. Was I a freshman?
Yeah, in high school.
Jeez.
14-year-old Cisco. What would you tell yourself right now?
I think when I was 14, I had everything like figured out of all the paths I could go, but I couldn't make a decision on going to any of them.
Yeah.
So it actually like really messed me up because I think when I was 14 or 15, I had a soccer coach and it's like, man, one day you're going to learn how to say no. It's like, that's your biggest problem is you don't know how to say no. And the less decisions you make, the more other people are going to make for you. Only advice I would ever take was listening to what he said and applying it way earlier than I actually applied it. Like Coach Gordon Hine did so much. He was essentially another parent. I quote him all the time. I write this all the time. It stood out to me until like it gets easier to say no. And I used to feel like I needed to give a reason. What the reason? You give so much reasons that it becomes an excuse. And then like, I wouldn't even lie. Like I don't even care enough about these people to lie. I'll just tell the truth. But I would be like, the difference of just telling the truth and moving forward, or telling the truth and like extending the story to like, oh well, this happened, so then this happened, and then I was like here, and then I was like coming out late. In reality, point blank period, I did not want to do it. If I would have just said from the beginning, I'm sorry, this doesn't fit my vibes. I'm sorry, this isn't how I do things. I'm sorry in advance. I do not want to do this. Like, doesn't matter the reason. I just don't want to do it. And I'm not going to spend more time figuring out why I don't want to do it to please someone else.
Yeah.
I'm not being rude. I'm still apologizing that I'm turning down the opportunity, but I'm just not going to do it.
Yeah.
And when they have this vision in their head for me and it doesn't fit my vision, my goals for myself. Like, I'm sorry. There's going to be someone else who comes along. I hope they can do it, but it's not going to be me. And so that's truly, like, if I would have been able to do that, like, I would have gotten a lot farther. I would have made better decisions. I would have probably picked better friends too. But it's a learning curve, you know.
Yeah.
It might take you a second to learn, but yeah, I just learned how to say no sooner. I didn't really have a problem when I was against something completely. Like, if I didn't like something,
Yeah.
it was more so the, like, I don't really know, but I don't want to do it. Those were the harder ones. Or it'd be like, oh, I'm pretty good at this. I might as well just keep doing it. Like,
Yeah.
oh, you should run track. I was pretty good at it. You probably should keep doing it.
Yeah.
You should play volleyball. Oh, I was pretty good at it. I'd keep doing it. Oh, soccer, football, school, work. If I would choose a couple of them, probably would have been great.
Yeah.
I was pretty good, but I could have been great. It's just learning where to put your energy and saying no to things that you don't need.
Yeah.
What would you say to younger Bo Miller, 14 years old, figuring out his way in life?
Well, you definitely have to mess up. And that doesn't mean deliberately messing up, but that means breaking rules here and there. Yeah, I would say bend the rules. You don't have to break them, but bend the rules. Drink more water. Probably run a little more.
You said run a little more?
I don't know. I was pretty skinny when I was 14. That was a couple skinny years out of my life. No, I'm kidding. But, yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, like, my younger self did a lot of stupid stuff, you know, just like we all did. But, and I'm fortunate for those. But I would say probably make more music. You know, don't be afraid to, like you said, say no to some things. Don't be afraid to reach out to older kids, older mentors, because that's kind of what got me here. And I would say to do that more often, create more, you know, don't consume so much. Because I think that's something now, you know, people are so accustomed to consuming, you know, at work. People be working hard, but the first thing they do when they get off work is just go back to consuming food, phone time, you know, anything. And if you can not consume, but be present and try to produce and ask the person across from you how they're really doing. You know, that's something I feel like I started doing this past year, was asking people how are you really doing? Mm-hmm. And they'd be like, oh, good. I'm like, no. How are you really doing? And
letting them get in tune.
Yeah. Because I feel like there's a lot of stuff now you figure out 2, 3, 4 years later, and they're like, I was going through stuff then, or life was really hard, or something with my parents, or something with my brother or sister, whatever it was. But you know, I think that's something that kind of goes into it is and learning how to speak. Like learning how to speak, read, and write was huge. I think I was fortunate enough, at least relatively speaking, to learn how to write, learn how to read, and learn how to listen, and obviously speaking, because, you know, like Jordan Peterson, a lot of our great like authors and psychologists and things, like that is the foundation. And I think Belmont's done a great job with that, with challenging your ideas and then teaching you how to kind of dig deeper. And that's probably the kind of the sum of it too, and probably something, you know, I would put in my book someday is you just have to dig deeper. You have to do the hard things, you know. You got to listen to your parents for sure, but also just have fun. You know, you're 14 years old and you don't have a lot on the line. You know, you're probably mowing lawns here and there or whatever, you know, working at the ice cream stand. And so, yeah, that's probably what I would tell myself. Yeah, so I guess to kind of sum it up, you know, kind of breezed over a lot of stuff, kind of got deep on some things. Hopefully didn't bore anybody to death, obviously. Luckily we got a nice skyline-ish, some nice reflections, some good angles. But, the main thing is here, we're trying to start a foundation and continue to build on the one that we have. And obviously there's a handful of pillars that go into that, a lot of cement, a lot of careful articulation of the things that we're putting into our bodies, the things that we're giving out to others, how we're spending our time, et cetera, et cetera. And, no better place to do it in Nashville, Tennessee right now. I think I could speak for the both of us when I say that we want to continue to create more than we consume. We want to show the world others who do a good job of that. Show the world what Nashville, Tennessee is behind the scenes. It's not, like the cliche stuff, and it's so cliche to talk about the cliche stuff, but it's like, the bachelorette parties and Broadway. There's so much more to it, and there's truly an underground, kind of awakening, whether it could be spiritually, whether it could be through new genres of music, whether it could be, political things. Obviously, economics is huge here. And that's kind of what we want to do with this, There's a lot of amazing people that we've been fortunate enough to meet, and a lot more that, we hope to meet. And, just at the end of the day, that's what we want to do with this thing, is kind of show the world what's really going on. It's not really what you see on news and when you turn on the TV. And
we sit on all these highlights.
Yeah,
and it's really
yeah,
those are like 1% of life.
Yeah, yeah. And so hopefully it wasn't too self-help talky.
Hopefully it was, honestly.
Okay, yeah. Okay,
it never hurts.
Yeah, that's true.
I think it's
That's
nice
true.
that people can have that relationship and build and be like, all right, this is what someone else has applied. Maybe I could, but also they're real stories. We haven't once upon a time it yet.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, I think this is first of many. You look back at like your first Joe Rogan episodes, and now you got, the Full Sin Boys, the Nelk Boys. You look back at their first episodes, and it was pretty simple. And we figured, why not get together on this Friday, July 1, 2022, and just get the cameras rolling, get the microphones hot, and see what we can come up with. And so we're excited to bring a lot more to y'all. I'm excited to, keep y'all updated with what's going on. We love to hear from you. We want to hear new ideas. We want to hear new places to go to. We hope to supply the same to y'all. It's a pleasure. I appreciate you.
Cheers. Let's go.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate you as well.
Yes, sir. Till next time.